Yeah, I know. That's like the most energy on this whole stream. But yeah, Ryan and Sam, we are back at the final championship draw for the U21 Royal Slam in Kitchener-Waterloo. Our sheet that we'll be focusing on is sheet 5, Team Knee Page versus Team Goes. Team Knee Page will be throwing yellow stones.
As you can see on the screen.
And Team Goes will be throwing red. We're a couple rocks in so far, and it looks like Team Goes has decided to take it straight to Team Knee Page. Looks like we have a zone 3 guard a little bit off the center line with a back 4-foot stone behind it. And it looks like, I believe this is Sean's first stone. Nice double there from Team Knee Page. Good to get rid of both of those counter stones for Team Goes and sit in the split T line in the 4-foot. I believe Jake is asking Ben for a hit and roll behind that center-ish guard. Seem to have pretty tight ice on this one. Sean seems to be thinking it's a little lighter, and they really have Connor on it to hold the line here. Nice shot by Ben.
I believe Team Goes have came into this game choosing aggression, in my opinion. Calling the center guard early. They want to get the game going. They know they've played Team Knee Page enough that they know that Team Knee Page likes to keep the first couple ends cleaner. And so trying to take the aggression to them, throwing that center guard. They had a good setup, and Jaden made a really nice double. And a big sweep here to get it by the guard. Right on the nose.
Yeah. All right, so I think Dylan is asking Gavin for his out in-turn draw. Oh,
I think if being coached by the same coach, I know that
they're throwing
they would
the draw.
probably like the peel, but they decided on the draw, which is interesting in the first end. I think if they're reading the same playbook that I got from our coach, was the keep it clean. They had the opportunity to peel, blank the first end, get their deuce on even ends. But Dylan knows that Gavin has great draw weight. Make a nice draw around this center-ish guard that we're calling.
Yeah, I like that center-ish commentary call.
Really trying to make this rock curl. Looks like they got at least half of it buried.
Really nice sweep there from the front end. And as you see, approaching Daniel's right glasses lens is fully fogged.
Calling him out in the first end.
I'm going to call him out in the first end because I heard that team members from Team Zemelink have mentioned they call him the pirate.
Oh, well.
Because he has one lens blocked and the other clear.
Not sure if they wanted you to repeat that, but that's what happened.
Well, it's on the internet now, Sam.
Yeah, it will be posted, staying on YouTube forever.
And now that we're doing shout-outs, Team Anderson, playing on sheet 4, decided to name the small bump on their ice Tabitha. They wanted me to put that out there to the YouTube verse, so I did. Anyways, back to the game. Looks like Goves called a hit and a roll. Nice shot there.
And a nice shot by Jake. So Dylan's saying, we made the draw, they hit and rolled, we're going to get our blank end. So the not peeling the guard was never an issue, Sam, is basically what happened here.
Yeah, we know nothing. I think that's the one thing many people... I'm just kidding. But so, anyways, important shot here for Dylan. First end, first shot. As a thrower that's been in a championship environment before, I always really focus on this first shot. It sets the intensity for the rest of the game.
So with that hit and roll out from Dylan, a chance for Jake to draw around their center-ish guard. Looks like it just stays in the rings.
Team Gove's using every centimeter of the house.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have liked to make that rock curl, just where the weight was, they really couldn't touch it at all. So, an open hit to try and blank the first end for Dylan.
And that does the job for Team Knee Page, and a blank for end 1. And now, for our sheet-to-sheet update, we're going to send it to Misa Lydiot.
All right, on sheet 1, we have Team Mitchell ahead with 6-1 on Team Ingalls, with Team Ingalls having hammer in the 4th end. On sheet 2, we have Team Prenovo ahead by 2-1 in end 3. Bryant having the hammer. On sheet 3, I believe we have Dobson up 2 in N2. Yep, with Team Massey having hammer. Sheet 4 has been moved. Okay, sheet 6 we got Team Hocevar up 1-0 on Malima in N2. And I believe that covers all teams.
Thanks for the update, Misa. Now back to our featured sheet. We have the first 3 stones thrown so far, and I believe Daniel is asked for a top 4-foot come around behind that long red guard in the center-ish area.
I'm going to say center guard. That's close enough.
Okay.
Really nice freeze by Connor on his 2nd stone. It's going to make the blank very difficult, and it doesn't look like this end is leading to a blank. And a slight over curl. And Team Goves is still sitting 1 in the back 4-foot. I like when skips show their players the tolerance, solely if you go back to what you want as the main shot call. It keeps communication flowing, and I like that Jake did that.
I think that's a good point, Sam. And I think that sometimes gesturing it kind of reinforces to the players what the tolerance is. Sometimes the skip thing, or sometimes there's an assumption made, and that might not be what the tolerance is for that shot. So it's good to see that Jake's communicating that to the rest of his team.
Looks like they're trying to get this rock to stop. And it does sit top 4-foot. It looks like it is almost fully exposed. Probably have about 3/4 of the stone.
Looks like Jaden was asked for the intern hit on that redstone. I believe it was a nose hit was the call to hit and sit 2. And Dan found the spot of the ice that has a smidge of a bump, but he stuck the landing, so we're going to give him 8.5 out of 10 for that.
Sweeper's calling heavy here. And we know that if you are heavy, the rock does not generally catch the curl. So for Team Knee Page, sitting 1, half buried, I want to say, maybe. The draw is definitely the call. Important to keep this above the tee line, as you don't want to give Team Gopes an out in the end. And Gavin, our only lefty, attempting the draw. Daniel trying to sweep as hard as he can to make it at least a little buried. Maybe a little deeper than they wanted it to, but they tried to make it curl as much as they could. And for Jake and Team Goves, play like a heavy draw. Looks like they're playing about board weight, hit and roll under the high center guard, and put the pressure back on Team Knee Page.
Nice shot by Team Goves. And it'll be interesting to see what Team Knee Page does here. Looks like they're trying to hit and flop open, try to spread those stones out and manufacture a 2.
Looks like they're discussing changing the call a little bit here. I imagine they want to hit and roll to the 8-foot on the left side of your screen. Is what I think is the call. I've been known to be wrong.
You and me both, man.
You could argue. I think they just wanted to discuss it a little more, which is important, obviously, in the final. But the right call is the hit and roll to the 8-foot.
Yeah, a roll away from the guard. Because if you roll under it, you could give Team Goves the opportunity to freeze.
Yeah. And in our B event, it looks like it is 1-0 after the first. They are in the third. They have not posted the second end.
And for those watching the live scores at home, if you're wondering why we don't have the scores up, it's usually because we haven't seen the result of the end and it hasn't been posted.
Yeah.
But we do our best to try to get you the end scores as soon as we can.
Yeah, so for right now, Team Kosovar is winning 1-0 on sheet 6.
So both teams have seen this spot a couple times now, and I think Jake indicated for the hit and roll under the guard.
Yeah, important shot, though it's okay giving up too early. Rolling into a first hitting and sticking is important, so Team Knee Page doesn't have that pick for 3 in the back. So that's your first goal. But if you could hit and roll under that center guard, maybe a quarter buried on that yellow in the top 8-foot, makes Team Knee Page's shot much harder. So big shot here from Jake. Just for learning purposes, if I'm Ben in the house there, I would probably want the sweeper that makes the rock curl sweep that from the hog line in, because rolling is definitely the most important on that shot. It makes the hit obviously a lot harder, and it makes the shot for Team Knee Page for 2 a lot harder. So for Dylan, a nose hit for 2.
Nice shot there for 2 points. 2-point score, Team Nepage.
after Team Knee Page gets their 2 points, they instantly throw the center guard saying, let's go, we are ready to play. And for Team Goes, coming up light on their draw and now heavy. interesting position here as the end has progressed. It looks like Team Knee-Page is sitting 1 on the top of the button.
Was the call for a guard here, Sam?
Yeah. It's a guard. I like the call because you know Jake's probably throwing the run back. And though he would be running it yellow, it's a short run back, and red would be shot rock.
Okay.
When made. So guard, absolutely the call.
And I think that when made thing, just because I know you're curling right now, that's the mindset these athletes have out there, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's, I'm going to throw this shot, and my opponent's going to throw this shot, and they're going to make it, and then when they make it, we'll make this. And I think it's, like, none of these teams are relying on a miss in their strategy.
I think that's the fun part, especially in an A final. You know you're playing a good team. I think that's the fun part of curling is when both teams are playing at, you know, the 80, 70, 80, 90 percentile. You get kind of a chess match going.
Yeah.
And you get to fight for the angle, and it's really fun to see. You absolutely you get to see good shot making on a high level even this early in the season.
Yeah. And I think that's where in previous streams we've seen maybe a little bit of flip-flop on strategy. And I mean, obviously it's early season, but that's something that in a close game with teams curling similar percentage levels in terms of execution, it is those strategy decisions here and there that make the difference.
It's the last draw. We'll
Little tired, maybe.
we can stumble on words. It's fine.
Thanks, Sam.
I already have like 3 times.
All right, so I believe we're trying to clear the front here for Team Goves, make a double peel.
Yep, you're gonna want to try and get both yellows and your shooter out of the way, and well made.
Nice shot.
And for Dylan, a little, he did just throw the guard, but a little bit of pressure, as if the guard isn't made perfectly, there is a double for 2.
Good point.
I like that, though. It's a guard, and he just threw it. They're still taking the time to say, this is where I want to place it. A lot of teams, when it comes to easier shots, they tend to rush themselves. They tend to, and rushing makes mistakes.
Yeah. It seems to be very specific. I want it 2 feet higher than the red one on the opposite side of the center line, and we'll see if it ends up there.
Yeah, it's good to see, especially in U20, U21 curling, because when you go into the men's or the U25, you see the placement of stones be even more specific. And when you watch TV and you see the guy, you see the big teams disappointed when a rock is only made 75%.
Yeah.
It's because they're at such a high level that if it isn't 100%, they're a little upset, obviously, because it's so important to place your stone in the perfect spot.
And it gives that opportunity for the opposition to make that full 100% shot, and then it really emphasizes the fact it was only 3/4 made. But a big carry here for Jaden and Daniel to really try to close that hole.
And just like sheet 4, we see on sheet 5, once you get a little wider, it tends to not curl towards the center as sharply.
Yeah.
And I think they got caught in that spot. So not an easy shot for 2, because you do have to get close to that yellow in the top 8 foot.
Yep.
But for Jake, making sure you make contact to get your 1.
Very
and
true.
Then making sure you hit and roll to the center to make the double for 2. I imagine this isn't getting thrown lightly.
Yeah.
I think probably a normal plus weight here, similar to what he just threw his peel.
Yeah. And Sam, what do you think about that weight? I mean, throwing it a high, hard one, it takes the curl out of it, but then it also takes the curl out of it, right? So
I think this early in the game, I like the normal plus weight.
okay.
You want to make sure you get your deuce, you get your 1 first.
Yeah.
Big sweep, and still gets his 1. It does rub off the rock in the top 8 foot. He threw that lighter than I expected where the broom was. I think if he was throwing that weight, he would have gave himself, if he knew he was going to throw that weight, he would have gave himself a couple more inches.
Maybe it's something that, I'm just trying to think here, maybe they think it's running a little bit straighter in that spot, or maybe given how early it is in the season, sometimes you adjust the ice to how your throwers are throwing instead of trying to put the broom where you think it may go. I remember my team early season, sometimes our out turns were a struggle, and whenever we saw an out turn put down for a hit, we would always make sure to tighten the ice because we know that we were always full to the broom with our out turns. Shout out to my ex-teammates.
You know who you are.
For better or for worse, you do know who you are.
But you got your 1. Halfway through the end, I think you would have been saying,
Yeah.
Thank God.
I got 1.
We got our point. We did not give up a steal.
Yeah.
And just like Team Steel, Team Goes is probably wanting to get into that later half of the game with a close game, like down 1, down 2, tied.
Have a close one.
Have a close game because then pressure builds throughout the game.
Yeah.
So a corner card called for Team Knee Page. Didn't quite curl as much as they wanted to. Team Goes calling the center guard, goes a little bit deeper, but it is buried, and a good call from Jake and team noticing that it is heavy.
Nice setup by Daniel from Team Knee Page. And it looks like Jake is asking Evan for a freeze to that side 4-foot stone.
You're better.
Awesome.
Looks, we don't have an overhead. If I was a guessing man, I would say it's red sitting one. I disagree with that. I think red is sitting one.
Oh. I do have glasses for a reason, Sam. And I think I might need to get my prescription checked. Red is sitting one in the back 4.
So calling the corner freeze. I like the call. Looks like just didn't croak as much as they wanted it to. So a double chance for Jaden.
But it's in a good spot. Team Knee Page needs to be careful with removing the stone. If they ever hit the high side of it, it could go back onto that yellow zone.
I agree.
An unfortunate jam there for Team Knee Page, and I believe Team Goves is... Are they calling the guard here, Sam?
Or the hit and roll.
The hit and roll? Okay, sorry, I didn't catch it.
No, I'm gonna say the hit and roll where the berm is. Not a heavyweight hit and roll though. Looks like a board waiter.
Doesn't look like a hit.
Definitely not a hit and roll.
We might be losing
heavy
it.
corner freeze. Corner freeze.
Corner freeze. Okay, so we're not super crazy. Awesome.
No, that's a good call. I like it. It makes you third shot. So you're first and third. Yes, Dylan has a rock in what we call the control zone. But if you miss that run back, Team Goves is sitting in a really good position. Would you ever peel the guard? Or make the tap? I think the tap's probably the call, but the guard is one of your problem stones-ish.
It's a tough one. I think... It's a great question. I'm not sure. I think moving something from the center, whether it be the guard or this stone, isn't a bad call, because they're kind of prohibiting Dylan to get in there for to see that button area. I don't mind this call.
Now, unfortunate you got the miss, but fortunately you didn't over curl to where you hit and roll under the corner guard, or hit and roll to where you can't advance that yellow stone.
Yeah, it is now kind of a problem rock for Jake as well, right?
Yeah, so Jake has to decide whether he wants to play the hit and stick / hit and roll towards the right side of your screen or the guard, and he's deciding on the guard. I like the guard choice. I think for Team Goves, the game plan should definitely be more rocks and play more aggressive. Try to beat them into the top 4 foot to steal and get your points.
Yeah.
And the opposite for Team Knee Page.
Yeah.
Big sweep here by Evan and Sean. Get it over the hog line. Though a little high, I think it does the trick to where Gavin probably has to throw a peel.
Yeah, I think right now, before you were maybe a half shot in trouble, Now I think you're maybe 1.5 to 2 shots in trouble, and I think if I'm Team Knee Page, I think getting rid of those center guards makes it a lot easier for him later.
I think they're deciding whether they want to play the double peel.
Or
I
a
like
tap.
it because you're bringing that yellow stone in towards the red rocks.
Yep.
And maybe changing the angles up a bit. Yeah, red, you might not tap red in to sit 2, but the angles would be way better and there'll be no guards in play. So I think the double peel is definitely the call.
Yes. And I think that was one of those, okay, I'm the skip, let me think it out, right? Like you see that moment, kind of thinking, okay, if I tap here, they might do this. And I feel like the trouble always gets back to those center line guards.
I agree. And for Gavin, last time he was on the broadcast, we poked a little fun at him a little bit as he overthrew a couple of peels. And I think he might... Oh, timeout. So, you know what? We're going to discuss this a little bit more.
While Sam works on his linguistic skills, it looks like the back end is trying to figure out still if they like the double peel or want to make a play in there.
As discussed with about 9 people behind the glass, we think the peel is the call, and it looks like they're just doing a single peel, no double peel.
I don't mind that. I mean, it opens up access to their top 12-foot stone.
I agree. I think that I would throw the double peel. I know you're scared of the yellow changing the angles in the house when it goes in towards the reds, but it brings all the play into the rings. For Gavin, mission accomplished. Yeah, you didn't roll all the way out, but you were never going to throw a rock down that side of the sheet if you're Dylan anyways, so. For Ben, put the guard back where it was. I like this call for the split. If it overcurls and you split the red one, it does about the same. So either or. Splitting the yellow one, it is the one that is completely on the center line.
Yep.
Just giving more space for Dylan's last stone for his draw for one. Big sweep from Daniel here to touch the yellow stone, and mission accomplished. It's a nice shot. For Jake, I don't think you need to throw the guard anymore. Yeah, I think you want to throw a top 4 foot, half buried, make sure there's no double. And if you end up tolerance is light, it's not the end of the world.
I agree, Sam.
Big sweep here. And a good tolerance. I think Dylan will be able to run that red rock in if he wanted to. And just to update on the B final. Team Malima up 2-1 in the 4th end. Oh, a big sweep just rubs off and does give Team Knee Page another shot. Oh, well, Jake's hitting it, so never mind. So you could play the hit and roll on your last. Opportunity for Team Goves to hit and roll behind the wall of rocks and put the pressure on Team Knee Page.
And we have our first final on the men's championship round draw, and it looks like Team Prenovo defeated Team Bryant 6-2 in 6 ends. Looking across the sheets, we have a close game on sheet 1 with Team Mitchell leading Team Ingalls 6-4. Team Mitchell has hammer playing 7. And then we have the other cluster of our games running at similar times. So on sheet 3, we have Team Dobson leading Team Massey 6-0. Team Massey has hammer in 4. And on sheet 6, we have a very close 2-1 game for Team Malima leading Team Hocevar, with Team Hocevar having hammer playing 4. And all of a sudden, we're tied up 2-2. Team Knee Page has hammer playing the 5th end, and it looks like Evan was asked for a zone 2-3 guard here. It looks like the sweepers seem to think it's a little bit heavy. It'll be interesting to see what Team Knee Page does from here. I mean, it's early in the season, and it's important to maybe test out / exercise that resilience from Team Knee Page. So it'll be really important to see what they do in the last 4 ends.
After that steal in the fourth end, we have a tie game at 2-2, and a really nice sweep from Jaden for Daniel to make that freeze tap.
Big sweep to try to bring this rock over the hog line for Team Goves.
I think we're going to be saying big sweep a lot in this game.
Big sweep.
I say that just because both these teams are so particular in their rock placements. That sweeping is going to obviously make those shots for you, right? The thrower can only do so much. The thrower's job is done after he releases the stone, right? So as long as the weight's close, it's up to your sweepers and your skip to get a good line on it. And Team Knee Page says, I have had enough with these guards.
Yes, sir.
And Jake says, no, no, no.
One more time.
I imagine if Team Goves had their way, they will be throwing guards for the rest of the end, depending on angles. That guard sliding a little deeper than they wanted to. Does make the perfect freeze, so I'm not sure if Team Knee Page can get rid of both reds without running in that yellow guard.
Good caveat, Sam. I think that's the shot if I'm Team Knee Page. I'm saying, know what? The guards haven't done me any good recently, and if you make that run in, you have an opportunity to spill both red stones, and if you hit it in the perfect spot, maybe even sit two.
And we've seen it in our women's final. A similar angle was set up, and Charlotte Johnson made a great run back to sit three. So interesting what they decide. I think they're more discussing the bump on the ice in that same path, I think is what the discussion is. Both teams obviously have to play with the bump. They're worried that if the rock passes over the bump, it will change directions, which we saw in our women's draw. So we'll see. See if we get some air time here. Looks like he must have missed the bump and makes the peel. There's nothing wrong with that. For Team Knee Page, they don't want any guards in play at this point.
Yeah.
They would like, I'm assuming, they would like a blank. It's going to be difficult the way the rocks are set up now. As long as Team Goves doesn't miss a guard. Like if Team Goves makes 3 guards in a row, it would be very hard for them.
Yeah.
To peel. Or to blank. And both teams knew about the bump. Both teams understand that it can almost act as a 9th stone. It can almost act as a guard.
Yeah.
Because you can't really throw a hit over the bump. Unfortunately, for the viewers back home, we've had some condensation on the ceiling, and there has been a drop that has fallen on the ice to create a bump on the sheet. Both teams have to play with it. It's early season curling. It does happen. Nothing the ice makers, nothing anyone can do other than Mother Nature cooling off outside. And some people don't want summer to go yet. I'm a fan of winter, so it can. Let's see if we get some airtime here. No airtime on the bump. And a really good peel by Gavin.
Yeah.
Though red is sitting 2, it is much more open now.
Yeah.
A little unlucky that red finished biting button still above the T line.
Yeah.
But for Team Goves really hasn't changed. Make the guard.
And a nice shot by Gavin there. Seemed to have a bit of an unlucky overcurl for Ben's second guard. And Gavin took advantage of that, making a nose hit. So I believe the call here for Jake and team is to remove that Yellowstone and roll behind the guard.
I think it's important for Team Goves to focus on a roll, no matter if it's a roll to the outside, to the edge of 8, or if it's a roll under the center, because you're probably going to get the force the way the rocks are stopped right now, unless Dylan makes a really nice hit and roll or a really nice draw. So important to roll either direction and get the force, because forcing in an odd end is exactly where you want to be, having hammer in that all-important 6th end. Unfortunately, this rocked hook off on them.
Wow, that was an all-of-a-sudden move.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it grabbed or if just not enough rotation on the stone maybe really curled there.
Yeah.
And to be fair, that is the side of the sheet that does curl a little more.
That's true. And it is the 12th draw that we've had on sheet 5.
Exactly. I think maybe if I got to rethrow that, if I'm Jake, I would probably throw normal weight.
Yeah.
Probably not get cute with it. And we talk about that make after miss stat about 1,000,002 times, but it's that important.
It is.
So for Dylan, obviously being in the rings in general is important, but being above T-line, top 4 foot buried, to where even if Jake makes the freeze, if he decides to throw the freeze,
Yep.
you can still draw the full 4 foot, or biting 4 foot for 2.
Yeah, and I think Sam, just doing like vibe check on the game, I think it seems like the momentum started to shift Team Goves' way, and if Dylan can make a nice one here, maybe they can try to grab back some of that momentum.
Interesting position they left the rock in. Jake, as long as that yellow on the left side of your screen is out, which it looks like it is.
Looks out, question mark.
You could take your medicine and hit the open rock. But I like the freeze because that rock did go a little bit farther than Team New Page wants them. Freeze, if you could tap it 2 inches to where the red rock is shot, that's a really good shot for Jake. And redemption, because seeing his body language after that 7th rock kind of picked on him or grabbed on him, for motivation, for momentum, obviously a very important shot in the game.
Yeah, and I think this is an opportunity, like we've kind of been saying in terms of back and forth, another opportunity to try to maintain some of that momentum Team Goves has been building upon since the 3rd end.
Sweepers are calling all there out of his hand. Don't want to tap it too far. I think just tapping it a little bit too far. Really good line.
Yep.
Just probably about a foot or two too heavy. I don't think for Dylan and for Team Knee Page, I don't think you want to get too cute with this. If you over curl and you stuff it, you probably give up a steal, and that's definitely what you don't want to do. I think making the pick,
Yeah.
getting your 2 and taking a 2-point lead is the most important. I think if you play it too cute, you get too close to where it could help Team Goves over helping you.
And Sam, something one of my old coaches used to say is through the first half of the game, if it's a game of 1s and 2s, you want to make sure that you're getting those 2s when you have the opportunity to. And I think that throwing it a little bit softer, trying to get the 3, they could overcomplicate it and potentially only get 1 or even give up a steal. So I think I really like the pick. Throw a good normal weight at it and just clear it and score your 2 points.
Yeah, you don't want Dylan to get in his head that they absolutely need to score 3 here. Don't want to overthink this. I think that's what Gavin's called the pick twice now, or at least motioned it with his body language, and I like the pick as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they've decided. It looks like if they play tight ice, they've decided on the pick. So
yeah,
that's exactly what they're playing. I think Gavin just had to convince Dylan a little bit. Nice clean release, make the pick, get your 2 points.
a nice shot for what looks like 2 for Team Knee Page, and I like that they were able to have a conversation, choose a shot, commit to it, and execute.
Good setup by, well, Team Evan made a great guard.
Yes.
And a big sweep here by
Jaden
Gavin
and Gavin.
and Jaden to try to get that rock to center. Not easy thing to do.
I think we have the formula for some rocks in place, Sam.
I think we probably won't play an end without some guards anymore throughout the rest of the game.
Bold statement.
That's what I'm here for.
You're right. I'm the factual one and you're the controversial one. So, this one seems to have moved a little bit on them. And I think the one thing the players are going to start to notice is that we've had 11 or 12 games on this sheet. And even with the best of the best ice makers, you're still going to see the ice maybe smudge a little bit in the middle. So it's extra important for all of the athletes to throw that little bit of extra rotation, be full to the brim, because we're going to see a lot of movement in the ends to come.
Definitely.
Unfortunately, as predicted, the past couple shots we've seen curl a little bit early, get into that center path, and really start to curl and wreck on some of the guards. So we'll see if Jaden was able to make the adjustment here.
Yeah, we can all blame Ryan for the caster's curse on that one. It looks like this rock is slowing down in a hurry. And a great shot by Jaden.
I don't know if you could walk it down and put it in a better spot, Sam.
Neither do I.
Nor do I want to find out, man. Tough one there. That was really close to getting shot stone.
Over curled by a centimeter and a half.
Get the ruler out for you, Sam.
Don't need it. So for Team Page. Keep the pressure on. Make this guard.
And it looks like we have our next final on sheet 1. Team Mitchell defended their, well, they, long story short, Team Mitchell won 7-6 over Team Ingalls. And for those interested in either Team Hocevar or Team Molima's game, Team Hocevar is leading Team Molima 4-2. Team Molima has Hammer playing the 6th end.
So a guard for Dylan here.
All right, here. So we have Team Knee Page. Did you see the call here, Sam?
A guard.
A guard? Okay.
Yeah.
Sweepers seem to like the weight.
Again, Jaden to curl the stone. Wouldn't it be bad if you could tuck a piece to where they can't run it back? And I think that's exactly what they did. For Jake, it's definitely gonna need to blow it up on his first one, I think. Maybe make the double run. You make the double peel, that yellow stone, hit perfectly, should go in towards the shot rock. And handshakes on sheet 3 as Team Matt Dobson beats Team Massey 8-2. So our A and B final are the last 2 sheets on the ice.
Close. And a nice shot there by Jake and Team Goves. It really opens it up and it kind of bails the team out of trouble. And the opportunity for Team Goves to score looks a lot better after that shot's thrown.
Yeah. You're definitely correct on that point. I think that for Team Knee Page, they have to decide. If they're sitting 1-2, the hit does not make any sense, and I'm assuming they are since they're calling the draw. I like drawing to the top 4 foot, try to get half of it buried to where Jake is going to have to either play a delicate hit or a tough draw. Now they need to make sure they are sitting 1-2. If it's too close, you have to hit. So we'll see what if they decide on the hit, then it must be too close to call.
Important shot here by Dylan to try to establish the force on Team Goves. Going really hard to try to hold the line. Oh, wow. That's a very nice roll from the team. Very well managed stone. All the way from the line caller in the house, Gavin, to the sweepers managing it, Daniel and Jaden. And it puts Team Goves in a much more difficult situation than they were before that shot was thrown. And it looks like Jake is going to need a good piece of the 4 foot to score a point here.
big shot.
Yeah, and this is a shot that it's in the sixth end. Make the draw, kind of get back some of that momentum that's been ebbing and flowing for both teams, and bring it into a 1-point game heading to the seventh end.
Sean trying to make the rock curl. I think they want this rock to stop. Looks like it's going to be a steal of one. Just slides. Didn't catch the curl as much as he expected, I think. Because if it does hit that path that curls a little more, it would slow down a little quicker.
Yep.
So, Team Knee Page up 5-2 going into the seventh end. And this is where we're going to see one team wanting absolutely 0 rocks in play.
Yeah.
And for Team Goves, cluttering the guard zone and trying to get there at least 2 points.
Yeah, and I think if I'm Team Goves, I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm seeing I have 2 ends left. Like you said, 2 is a big mission for them this end. At the very least, I think they need to score. Even if it's a single, I mean, obviously you want your deuce, but if you get a single, get back on the board in the second half of the game, and then you know you have to go all out for the steal in 8.
I agree. I think that some teams forget that giving up a steal is basically going to be game over.
Yeah.
Where scoring 1, at least you're going to throw the rocks back. Yes, you're down 2 without, but getting rocks in play, and you never know what can happen.
It only takes a half shot here and maybe a miss there, and all of a sudden you can steal a point or two. And
oh, so Jake called the hit here. Delayed corner, maybe?
yeah.
Also, maybe he wants to get 3 in the 8th and steal in the extra. Definitely a viable option. I think probably the delayed corner is what's being called. Because even if Team Knee Page knows this, that rock is not going to be as threatening.
Yeah.
I think we sound surprised because he last 2 ends he's had hammer, he's thrown the corner guard.
Yeah, and
so maybe trying something new.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing too, is I think it also maybe throws your opponent off balance if all of a sudden for most of the game you've been calling a certain strategy and then you switch it up. So yeah, and that's the delayed corner, and I mean, like we said, it's one of those difficult shots in curling. You just threw a hit, a higher weight shot, and now you got to dial it back and give the skipper a guard. So big shot here for Evan.
I know at least one of Jake's past coaches is smiling at home right now.
Yeah.
Loves the delayed corner.
Yeah.
Good weight by Evan. Unfortunately didn't get as much curl as they wanted to. So it will be a center guard.
Yeah.
But still a guard. And at this point, down 3, you need guards in play. So for Team Knee Page, they have to decide, do we throw it through? Do we try the tick? But the tick will create a corner guard.
Yeah.
So, they could draw, but I think when you're up 3, any rock is kind of helping Team Goves.
So I think Jaden was asked to throw this stone through. What do you think about this, Sam?
Love it. It's the exact same thing. I suggested it when they were thinking about what to play. I think any draw, any rock in play is only going to help Team Goes. Yes, you could beat them into the top 4 foot, top 8 foot, but that gives a rock for Team Goes to freeze on, to tap with, to create opportunities with.
Yeah.
So I think throwing it through is a great call, and because they get to peel that red one as soon as Sean's rock is stopped, and that's where you'll see Dylan run to, no matter where this rock ends, even if it's not fully buried.
Yeah. And I think that's Dylan understanding that the risk of leaving that center guard around is a lot higher than the risk any rock poses in the house. Like, it's that guard that is your problem stone.
And not a bad outcome. Yeah, they didn't make the draw. The double peel isn't easy, and now they have a corner guard and a center-ish guard.
Yeah. So it looks like Dylan is calling for the out-turn peel. I think one thing, if we wanted to be really nitpicky, is throwing this handle can be a little risky. If you hit it thick, very thick, you could jam it onto the yellow stone. So I think maybe throwing the other rotation and just being confident and getting the single could be better. But I mean, the shot was still executed perfectly. And a nice draw around that corner guard. It did slip a little bit behind the tee line, but it does look to be mostly buried by that red guard, and it seems that Dylan is asking Gavin to peel that red corner guard out of play. And a well-executed peel by Gavin. So it looks like the guard
can't see it because there's players standing there. But I think it overcurled if they're going after the rock in the rings. So it's important for Gavin to realize what the tolerance is. If you end up peeling the guard, it's just as good as making the hit and stick in the rings.
Emily, I'm sure your conversation about the guy with the chicken hat is very riveting, but it is on the stream now. So if you could just have your talk, but just down a notch or two, I'd appreciate it. Okay?
Ryan and I gonna talk about it.
Yeah, and we're trying to tone down the obnoxiousness by us. So we're trying. Okay. Thank you. That was also on the stream. Congratulations. And now that you can give me a shout out, yeah, it's all good. Oh, wow. It wouldn't be a late tournament stream if you didn't hear what we had to say, folks.
A great freeze. Back to the game, please.
Yes.
A great freeze.
Yeah.
By Team Goves.
Are they first or second shot?
They look like their first shot by this angle. And if Team New Page is looking at it this long,
Oh.
I think the teams discussed that they might have touched it when the rock was finishing.
Okay.
I don't think it moved much, and by Gavin's reaction to moving the rock a millimeter, I don't think
makes a big difference.
I don't think he thinks it moved.
And I mean, either way, I don't think it's moved enough to change the shot call for Dylan, right?
No,
I
just
think-
want to blast it out.
Yeah, remove that redstone. If you lose the backing, that's okay. And force Team Goves to make another nice shot.
I think the important thing is back to that word of elimination.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you lose that back yellow. And preferably, you want to lose the back yellow.
Sure.
You're okay with a blank. You're up 3. You're okay with giving up 2.
Yeah.
The one thing you don't really want to do, it's acceptable. It's maybe acceptable is to give up 3,
Yes.
but you don't really want to do that, obviously.
Yeah.
And a good shot by Dylan.
Yeah.
And for Team Goves, they have to kind of decide now what they want to do, and they're calling the draw.
I think the only risk with calling the draw here, Sam, is if Team...
You're not going to be shot.
Yeah, you're not going to be shot, and Team Knee Page is probably going to try to split the rings even, and then you might end up getting forced. So I like...
I like this call.
Yeah, bringing your stone in the area of this Team Knee Page stone and try to get shot stone and force play on this stone Jake's throwing.
Yeah, because for Dylan, if they make a really nice draw here, Dylan will have a short run back, but if he doesn't keep his shooter, you can blank, you can try and take 3 and 8 with hammer. If you get a miss from Dylan, you get the draw for 2.
Very true.
And it's a 1-point game.
Tough one there. It seemed to just move a little bit more than they were anticipating. The weight was pretty close.
And in my opinion, if Team Goves is looking back at this game, though it's not over, I'm not saying it's over, that's kind of been the trend the last 3 ends has been just taking a guard or just just missing a shot by a couple of inches, and you learn from that. Moving on, 2 weeks time when you play them again, you'll be better, you'll be sharper. I'm not saying the game is over. I'm just saying for learning purposes.
Regardless of the outcome, right?
Yeah.
You notice that there has been quite a few kind of ticks, rubs, or undercurls in certain spots. So maybe just more communication between the team and the different paths on the ice could be something that they look into.
Yeah, absolutely. Important shot for Jake to keep the game going. A hit and stick. Yes, you'll be down 2 without, but you try to get all 8 stones in the last end in play, and you might have a chance.
Exactly. All right. Last stone for Team Go, 7th end. Hit and stick.
It's a tricky spot. If it gets too close to the center line, they'll lose it, so the sweepers are going to want to stay close. Want the rock to sit, and it just hits and rolls out. Yeah, it'll be a steal one for Team Knee Page, and a 6-2 lead going into the last end. relatively clean end so far as the lead stone slipped into the rings. So for Sean, pretty important to keep this in the guard zone so Team New Page can't hit. Ben's sweeping, trying to get the rock to curl off that center line. Oh, and they can peel, so the 5-rock rule is obviously done. So for Team New Page, yes, there are some simpler shots, but you want to execute those simple shots. And a nice peel by Gavin. And not often do Vices get to make the shot for the win, but Gavin has the opportunity to eliminate one more red stone for the win of the U21 Royal Slam. And a nice sweep, putting the rock in the rings and making Team New Page make a shot for the win. And only about a 5.5 second peel by Gavin, 6-5. And Team New Page wins the U21 Royal Slam, going undefeated, just like Team Rachel Steele did. And we have a Griffin chant going on. That can stop. Congratulations to Team New Page for winning the men's side U21 Royal Slam. Congratulations to Team Rachel Steele for winning the women's side and going undefeated. That is it for us here at KW. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for listening to me and Ryan. And I know sometimes it wasn't easy at times. That is it for us. Thank you everybody. Have a good night.